But that has to be like some next level type of flex to be able to
What?
say, I know Latin. Like I can read, write, and speak Latin.
Can you read Latin?
No.
Assuming. Asking questions. Asking. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Unorthodox reaction. We are back again with, you guessed it, a reaction. This time we will be. You're right. Why are you looking so like?
I'm trying to make sure the glare isn't on my glasses because when I look up, it kind of glares a little bit. So I'm like this.
Yeah, and then when you do that, it looks like you're intensely focused and
It's like.
yeah, like what is that about? Is it
Welcome back, guys, to another Unorthodox reaction. How you guys doing? It's always nice to see you guys. We're glad you could join us today.
is it cold in your house?
Of course it is.
Yeah, it's cold in
It's
mine too.
African parents' house, bro. You don't turn on no heater. Why is that?
Dude, what? I am freezing right
Layers
now.
and blankets, bro.
I'm freezing right now. I might just get a blanket in the middle of this video. I'm freezing. I respect it. Hope you people at home are freezing as well, but are warm
We hope you.
in your own
I
way.
moving on. Today we have today we've got an overly sarcastic production. Is this still on? I feel like okay. There we go. Overly sarcastic production. History maker Virgil.
Never
I
heard of
have
them.
heard the name Virgil, but I actually don't know what he's done. I know he's like one of kind of like he's on the same vein as like I don't know if I'm gonna say his name right. Hippocrates, is that his name? You remember him? And Galen and all those
I don't know
dumbass
Galen.
astrologers. You don't
Oh,
know
maybe I do.
Galen?
Maybe I do, but I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you should have learned about Galen at school.
Probably did, but
Wasn't he
schools,
the
how
one? I
many
think
years
he was
ago?
the one that did like the medical advancements in the Middle Ages or something. I might be wrong about that, like the
I think
leeching and stuff like that.
I don't know about that.
Possibly.
I think school was a
I
long
think
time
I'm
ago as
mixing my
well.
history up.
Yeah,
Calm
I
down.
think
School was like 6 years ago. It's not that
for
long.
you,
For you,
for me,
it's like 7 years. It's like one more year than me.
are
Relax.
you, are you dumb? When was
Oh,
the last time
sorry.
you went
Five
secondary
years.
school?
6 years ago. I'm counting. I'm counting sixth form in college as well because they
I
technically
didn't learn
count.
history in sixth form or college, so it doesn't
You're
count.
one of those, aren't you?
Did you do history in sixth form or college?
No.
Exactly. So this was 9 years ago. You're talking, you idiot.
Almost a decade. It's
Exactly.
not
Come
that
on,
long. Come on, man.
dude.
A decade, really?
What did
You
you eat
forgot
for dinner a
everything you
decade
learned.
ago? What did you eat for dinner a
That's
decade
not
ago?
the same thing. That
Why
is
not?
not the
Why not?
same thing.
Why not?
That is not... okay.
Why
What did
not?
I eat for dinner a decade ago?
Yeah.
Rice. You didn't specify the day or when, so
On
I'm sure I had
Wednesday.
no.
On Wednesday. No,
Okay,
no. On
rice.
Wednesday.
I'm sure I had rice a decade ago on a Wednesday.
Let me say the
Eventually,
date. Let me say the date. Exactly.
no, you already
Why?
asked the question and
No, I
I've
didn't.
answered it.
See? Because you know
Moving
I'm
on.
right. Because you know I'm right. You idiot. You idiot.
Without further ado, let's get right into
Withdrew a
it.
further.
I think it's fair to say the Romans are not best known for their literature, and while that is frankly a shame, I can very much understand why. When an unstoppable train of legionaries
Ooh.
comes battering down your door in their imperialistic quest to confiscate the entire Mediterranean Sea, you are unlikely to be focusing on the stylistic choices in their poetry. No amount of artistic alliteration would alleviate the absolute atrocities suffered by the people and kingdoms who found themselves the new beneficiaries of the Roman peace. And even during the subsequent Pax Romana, when life was at least nominally chill, most Romans engaged with their culture through the physical art and architecture that dominated civic spaces all throughout the empire. Very little Latin is necessary to understand that Marcus Agrippa made this big-ass temple, as public megaworks have a conspicuous habit of speaking for themselves. But if Rome wanted to become more than a land of soldiers and engineers and
They're
ascribe
really
some
good
sense of purpose
architects.
to its world-conqueringness, it needed to start writing stuff. Now, by the time of the first Emperor Augustus, Greece had been hard at work for nearly a millennium, and their immense catalog of epics, poems, plays, and philosophies had become a core pillar of Roman culture. However, seeing as those were all written in Greek, the citizens were hungry for more literature in the Latin language. That's not to say the Romans didn't have a strong start in the 200s BC, as they came out of the gate with the invention of the sitcom by comedy playwrights like Plautus. For context, most of
That's a
Shakespeare's comedies are
nostalgic ass
adaptations
sound.
of Plautus, and
Literally.
for further context, Roman comedy is absolutely hilarious. This seemingly contrasts with the straight laced, stiff upper lip that we observe in Cicero's formal letters on politics and philosophy or in the utterly emotionless war commentaries by Caesar. But as soon as we
Julius.
expand our sample size beyond politicians, we observe, perhaps unsurprisingly, that the Romans were really quite expressive writers. Take the first century BC poet Catullus, whose verses painstakingly chronicle the emotional roller coaster of his affair with an aristocratic woman. The poor lovebird probably felt more ecstasy and heartbreak in his 30-year lifespan than most people get in a century, and some of his poems would make even Sappho blush. So the Romans clearly had poetry, and expressive poetry at that, defying the stereotype of the cold, unfeeling statesman, but there is one attribute that binds early Roman literature together and distinguishes it from the Greek. It's all concerned with what is. Family dynamics, politics, war, love affairs, all varied topics, but all part of the everyday world and deeply familiar to the Roman audience. And so enters Virgil, a poet perfectly timed to meet the new Roman world, or perhaps the Empire of Augustus was lucky to have dawned during Virgil's lifetime. It's hard to convey just how transformative Virgil's poetry was for Roman culture, but it's harder to imagine what Rome would have been like without him. For just
Sorry, am
three
I
works in his
slow?
lifetime,
Have we listened to the male version of this before?
Mm, Uh, I mean, I have because I watched their
Oh
videos. So
yeah,
I didn't
I
really pick
actually
up. I don't
am.
know if you have or not
Yeah, I don't think I have. I was like, where? I missed the female sound, the soft,
because I
gentle.
just kind of yeah, I just kind of bypass it because I'm used to it. I
No, I
didn't.
was
I
like,
don't know if this is your first
whoa,
time.
wait a minute, who is this?
I think they have
Okay,
like they call themselves blue and red. I think the guy is
okay.
blue and the
So
woman's
like,
red.
so like us then. I'm blue, you're red.
No, no, calm down, calm down.
I
I'm
am.
blue. I'm blue
How are you blue?
because I'm blue. I'm wearing blue right now.
I'm wearing blue as well.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
I'm wearing more blue than you.
Prove it.
You can see it right here. It's my hood.
Can't see anything, mate. Anyways,
And
let's
here
get
you
back
go.
into the
There's a
video.
blue pen right here. You probably can't see
You
it,
can't see
but
the
right
pen.
there,
Pathetic.
blue. Oh, you know, also realized we didn't actually talk about our backgrounds. Mine
Oh yeah.
is the French Revolution, in case
Mine
you're
is the
wondering.
Norman conquest, Battle of Hastings. No, joking. Mine's the Battle of Hastings. Yeah. In case you're wondering, so basically those guys there,
But you can't see mine because of my chair.
those guys there, they have like spears and they're about to stab these guys on the horse and
I
stuff
think
like
they
that.
can see what's happening. You don't need to
Yeah,
give them a
I'm just letting them know.
play-by-play.
I'm letting them know.
Anyways,
Yeah. Just thought
time
we
of
should go
quite a month
historical on you
finished,
guys,
Virgil built on the foundations of Greek literature, stepped beyond the familiar world, and created, in beautiful Latin, a comprehensive cultural identity for the Roman people. So, to see how this humble poet marks the high point of Latin literature and hard carried the entire ethos of empire, let's do some history. Publius Vergilius Maro was born in 70 BC
That's
that's
a
just
his
tough name
name,
to
northeast of
say. That is
Mantua,
a
right?
tough
Mantua,
name
and
to
would have
say.
grown up.
Bro, I'll give him credit. He
You
nailed that.
go.
I still, to be fair, I don't know if that's right, but if that is right, he nailed it. Like he was so
Yes,
confident with it too.
That's a lie.
A republic that only knew chaos. Coming off of a decade of civil wars, with several more on the way once Caesar crosses the Rubicon at 49 BC, the prevailing attitudes in the mid first century would have ranged from glum
Oh,
to
that looks like
outright
my
doom.
wall.
And Virgil, who all his life was terribly shy and frequently sick, wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. In his youth, he studied law, but once he got to Rome, he spoke in court exactly once and immediately decided to leave. This choice may have also been influenced by the general Caesar recently being stabbed to death 23 times by the Senate. Either way,
What?
good to
He's
leave.
like, I
So
don't want
Virgil
any
hopped
part of
down to
this.
Naples to study
That's
Stoic
crazy.
philosophy, met the young poet Horace while he was there, and at that time began working on his first poetry collection, the Eclogues. Inspired by some earlier Greek work, this is a set of 10 poems praising life in the countryside, where farmers talk about their land, young men bemoan unrequited love, singers compete with each other, and life is good. Well, at least it's supposed to be, as the poems are loosely set in the Greek wilderness of Arcadia, but there are some curiously modern inclusions, as those farmers in poem 1 are actually talking about how their lands just got confiscated. See, though Virgil got out of Rome, politics marched on, sometimes literally, as Caesar's allies Octavian and Marcus Antonius waged a war against the assassins. And after their victory at the Battle of
Brutus.
Philippi, Octavian paid off his armies with farmland seized from towns in Italy, of which Virgil's hometown was one. So the Eclogues are establishing what will become a running theme of the natural world under threat from disaster and political chaos. But all is not lost, as Eclogue 4 promises a golden age dawning with the arrival of a young boy. And depending on how you read that metaphor, it could be anyone from the child of Antony and Octavia, a metaphor for Virgil's poetry, or, as later Romans believed, baby Jesus. Taken all together, the Eclogues see Virgil refashioning Arcadia from a distant mythological land into contemporary Italy. Beauty, crisis, and all. He also took the leap of using the old Greek dactylic hexameter, the metrical structure of Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, but in Latin. He was not the first to do this, but he was the best, and the Eclogues catapulted Virgil into literary stardom. A year after their publication in 38 BC, Virgil made friends with Gaius Maecenas, patron of the arts and close associate of Caesar Octavian, now de facto ruler of the
Okay, let's just pause there
It's
because
a lot of information all at once.
what have we learned so far?
Dude. Look, imagine the information is like this, and this is my head.
It's just like
It's like
I feel like I'm just
I'm
sitting here
getting,
just
I'm
listening
getting,
but not learning.
yeah, I'm getting some names, but
I'm not even remembering like literally I was that's why I paused it because I got to the point where I was like, okay, I
what is
don't think I
happening?
remembered anything he just said. Like
Said
I
in the
know he's
last
been
3 minutes.
talking.
Yeah.
Like all I can remember right now is him saying that Virgil went to the Senate and then decided not to be a senator because obviously Senate's corrupt as hell, and he single-handedly held Rome's poetry culture on his back. Apparently,
So yeah.
that's all I remember. Anything to add?
No, but I think from now on we can do a quiz, so we will remember. We'll see
I
who
feel
can
like
remember the
also that was
most.
another thing I was thinking about is all these like history lessons that or like history videos we watch.
Yeah.
I watch a lot as well, but I feel like I learn them and then I just forget them
Yeah.
because I there's no way for me to apply them. It's not
Hmm.
like I just talk about history on a daily
Yeah.
basis or
Yeah.
anything. So there's no way for me to apply them. And by the time the question actually comes up, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I learned it, but I can't remember
Yeah.
where it is
Forgot it.
now.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah.
So I think I kind of just developed that thing where like whenever anyone's talking about history, I even if I'm listening, as soon as the conversation's done, I just
Yeah.
forget it. Or
Yeah.
halfway through the conversation, I just kind of like just tune out.
All
So
right.
it's
So
it's tough
we will from now on try to retain it and recall what we retain from now.
from now.
Yeah.
Maybe like just like on a random time, we'll probably do like a video. Where we do like take a history quiz
Oh, that's
online.
gonna be so hard. But yeah, cool.
Nah,
I'm
I
down
think
to
that'll
do.
be
I'm
cool.
down to
I
do
think
that.
it'll be
Yeah.
cool.
I'm
If you
down to
guys want
do
to
that.
see that, let us know, and
Yeah, I'm
it
down
might
to do
get
that.
to you quicker if
Yeah.
a lot of people want to see
I'm
it.
ready to do it now. Now. See
No,
how
we're
dumb
not
we
doing
are.
that.
No, because we don't have to impress
We
anyone.
need to know if they
We
want
don't
to
have to
see it.
impress anyone.
Okay,
We
we
don't
need to
have
know
to
if they
impress
want to
anyone.
see it though. Like we can't
Yeah,
just be
true.
creating content for us. We need them to want to see it.
Look at you. You're thinking outside the
I'm
box.
knowing it. We're getting
Outside
better
the
at this.
box.
We're
Love
getting
it.
better at this.
Bloody love it.
Western Mediterranean. In the following decades, Maecenas would become the primary driver of Roman literature under the Augustan program, which is a flashy way to say minister of propaganda. But we're not there yet because it's still 37 BC and Virgil was just gifted a house on the Esquiline Hill in Rome, but he once again immediately left for the countryside. Absolute boss move. In the 30s BC, Virgil's private
Big
life of
boss.
writing poetry out in the country once again ran parallel with the Roman Civil War, as Octavian vied with his former friend Antony for control of the Mediterranean world, culminating in the Battle of Actium in 32 BC. So 2 years later, Virgil presented Maecenas and the triumphant Octavian with a poem about farms. Specifically, it's an instruction manual for farming, growing trees, animal husbandry, and beekeeping, all written in meter, full of poetic flourishes and mythological allusions, and somehow actually really good. Author seems to keep getting away with this. This collection, called The Georgics, echoed his early work's presentation of an ideal pastoral world threatened by natural and man-made crises, as disasters, storms, wars, and corruption all come to cause a ruckus at various points in the poem. Like the eclogues, this work weaves ancient mythology in alongside very contemporary ideas and fears, but it also marks Virgil's first contribution to the Augustan program. Bees.
Hmm.
Let me explain. Bees are adorable and they make delicious honey, but they are also an excellent model for organizing society. So Virgil's observations on beekeeping double as a guide for bringing Roman civilization back from the disorder of all
What?
those civil wars. You will note, kind viewer, that bees are recognized not only for their efficient teamwork, but also for the curious fact that they operate under a monarchy, not as a
Mm.
tyrant, but in
Okay.
a reciprocal relationship as the
Fair
patron
enough.
guardian of the whole colony. This will become a very Augustan idea, and there's frankly a whole hive's worth of philosophically nuanced bee content in Book 4 of the Georgics, and my ability to say that sentence with a straight face should be a testament to this man's insane skills. Because it's comparatively easy to make a good poem out of action and drama, but to make high art out of a gardening textbook is some
I was
real
gonna say I don't
talent.
think
Now,
I've
with
ever
that
actually
said,
heard
for his
any
next
Virgil
poem,
work.
Virgil did take
I
on a
don't think
tale
I
of
have
action
either.
and drama, and it is spectacular. So,
What's
in
it
the years
called?
after Actium, Octavian became Augustus, Rome became an empire, and Messina's circle of poets became the voice of Roman culture. To mark his achievement, Augustus went absolutely nuts on public works, but also wanted to portray his reign as the start of a new golden age. And to do that, Virgil looked backwards, to the earliest foundations of Roman history and of Greek literature, and those two threads converged on the Trojan War. Specifically,
Ah,
legend went that the Trojan prince Aeneas, son of the goddess Venus, escaped the burning city and somehow made it over to Italy, where his distant descendants Romulus and Remus would later found the city of Rome. And seeing as Augustus claims descent from Aeneas, Virgil could praise the emperor indirectly without writing him in as a Marius Sue. Keep in mind, this also gives Virgil cover to criticize the great princeps, because Aeneas represents Rome's best and worst attributes. He's written to be pious, dedicated, cold, stubborn, and rageful all at once. In practice, he's the
Okay.
full inversion of the cunning and charming Odysseus. That comparison is handy because on paper, the Aeneid is a Romanized retread of the
That
Iliad
is
Odyssey, but
so
remember, the Georgics was a
so
farming
Metroid.
manual, so there's a lot
so.
more going on here than just Homer II.0. To summarize the overplot, Aeneas washes up on the shores of Carthage, has a brief affair with Queen Dido until he's gently reminded about his cosmic destiny to find Italy and establish an empire, so he leaves, she dies mad about it, and Aeneas makes it to Italy, but has to fight a war about it with Prince Turnus of the Rutuli to cement his claim to Latium and also win the hand of Lavinia in marriage, which evidence suggests he sees exclusively as a business commitment. The plot in itself isn't groundbreaking, but it's the details and the style that elevate it into one of the best pieces of poetry in the world. For instance, as Aeneas is crossing the Aegean Sea, the one thing he brings with him are the Penates, which become the household gods specific to Roman religion. And when mourning the death of his father Anchises, he holds the very first Parentalia, a traditional Roman funerary festival. Aeneas leaving Troy and journeying towards Italy parallels his slow progression of becoming more Roman over the course of the epic, establishing a continuity between the ancient past and the new Augustan Golden Age. He's not just going to a place, he's creating a new identity. Just
These
as Virgil
images
is
are
creating
very
a new
good.
identity for Rome by
Yeah.
composing a distinctly Roman mythology. Aeneas, of course, serves as a vehicle for Augustan glory, specifically in the scenes where he goes into the underworld and sees Augustus at the head of a metaphorical Roman triumph, and later receives a shield forged by Vulcan with Augustus'
Ooh,
victory at Actium front and center, but
it's a
his
nice shield.
characterization and structural
Very
role make
nice.
him into a singular symbol of Rome. His destiny is to found a civilization he'll never live to enjoy, but he does it anyway because
That's kind of
selflessness is the
messed up.
currency of Roman heroism, and that all begins in Aeneas. Now, just as the poem begins in media res, with Aeneas caught in a storm at sea, wishing he had died at
This is
Troy,
all
it
part of the
beautifully
poem.
also ends in the middle
Yeah.
of the action,
That's
closing
tough.
literally 3 lines after Aeneas kills his rival Turnus. Thing is, the Aeneid is unfinished. Several lines have incomplete meter, as Virgil died of a fever in 19 BC while traveling from Greece, and he wanted 3 more years to polish the poem, but all evidence indicates this abrupt climax was the intended ending, which is frankly a baller move on Virgil's part. Less cash money of him was his request that the unfinished poem be burned. maybe as a cover for his
What?
criticisms of Augustus, maybe because he was that
Because
much
he
of a
didn't want to
perfectionist,
die.
but literally everyone up to and including the emperor stepped in to ensure the poem was published. With scenes like the
Ah,
retelling of the sack of Troy, Aeneas
great
and
way, guys.
Dido's, let's call it,
Teamwork.
wedding in the cave, Dido's silence in the underworld, and Aeneas grieving over the death of his battle companion, the epic far transcends any mere asset flip of Homeric material. In fact, Virgil's deliberately composed poetry is far more robust than the rigid and formulaic Greek that was passed down through ancient oral
The
traditions.
Odyssey.
Virgil's Latin is varied and ornate and dynamic, and it makes me want to learn Latin again, which is by far the best compliment I can give.
But that has to be like some type, like some next level type of flex to be able to
What?
say, I know Latin. Like I can read, write, and speak Latin.
Can you read Latin?
No, but he can. I
I
think
know
they both
it's
can.
it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wish I could speak every language and read and write every language. That's my one wish.
I don't know.
I think that'd be so cool. And
Maybe.
no one knew I could do everything.
If if that was the case, I'd just wish for like
You could
the
be
highest IQ
you could be the best
and
detective
learning
ever,
capacity.
private detective ever. You can speak every language.
No, 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 no. It is a transferable skill to private detective, but it wouldn't make you the best. All right, you still need the brains. That's what
Yeah,
I was saying. If that was the case, I would just wish instead for a really high IQ and
yeah,
a
but I feel
really
like IQ is
fast
overrated.
learning efficiency.
I feel like IQ is overrated because
No,
apparently
it's
an
not
11-year-old
because
recently got higher IQ than who is it? Einstein or
Einstein
yeah.
and what's the guy with the wheelchair?
Oh, Stephen
That's
Hawking.
the Stephen Hawkins. Yeah.
Yeah. Or an
Maybe he's
11-year-old
gonna go on
girl.
to do great things. But
That's
when I say
crazy.
high Q, I meant just in terms of being able to like
Intelligence.
remember, yeah, not like the literal like IQ test, but
IQ
like in
test.
terms of
Yeah. Better general
intelligence and being able
intelligence.
to like
Okay.
remember stuff, process stuff better, multitask, all that type of stuff.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be quite cool.
All right, let's wrap out the video.
There are rightly mountains of scholarship on Virgil because he's such an essential presence in Roman culture. Augustus doesn't work without Virgil in his corner, and I dare say there is no empire without the Aeneid. Now go read it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for watching. I
Okay.
Oh, they've got a Patreon.
could have
Okay.
easily made this
Yeah,
video
yeah, they
triple
do.
the length because Virgil slaps harder than a Roman legion armed with paddle boards, but I,
Oh, I
like
see it. Blue
Aeneas, am
red.
demonstrating selfless
Yeah.
heroism and vanity. Anyhow, Virgil is best boy, and you should all for real read the Aeneid. I've linked the David Ferry translation in the description below, and I will see you in the next
All right then.
Peace. What he said. We've linked the Aeneid in our
But
description
no, we
below.
haven't. We're not doing that. We've
You guys
linked
should
this
go read it.
video in our description. You can go onto this video and then go onto the Aeneid.
Yeah, but I think you guys should go read it as well. Anyways,
You
thank you
know,
for checking in.
you
If you,
haven't even read it.
yeah, no, I wouldn't know. It sounds really good though, but I'm very
This
bad
guy
at
is the
reading.
type of person to recommend something to someone without reading it.
100%. 100%. I think you'll like it. No, thank you for checking in. If you're still watching, we appreciate you. If you left
Of
early, we still
course.
appreciate you. And look after your loved ones and stay blessed.
Like, comment,
Peace.
subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. And we shall see you all in the next one in a bit.
Boom.